A big part of any community are the groups, organizations, and individuals that work to make lives better for the citizens. On today's show, we're coming to you from Penticton, where we feature two such groups. Up first, the Penticton Area Access Center, where they work to make lives better for those disadvantaged.
Penticton Area Access Society, we're an organization that helps people who are low income, impoverished people in the community, disadvantaged or marginalized people. So we help to provide them with the resources they need to get in the community and help themselves and live a better, more fulfilled life.
So you have a wide range of services that you steer people towards.
Yes, we do. We have a legal advocacy program, we have a disability program, and we have outreach services, and we try to reach out to people and support them within those areas.
So talk a little bit about that. I mean, these are obviously people that can't afford legal services, or they can't afford many of those kind of things. So how do you work with them, and how do you help them?
Well, we have an open door policy, so we have a drop-in service that's open every day, Monday to Thursday, between 1 to 4. So people come in here and book an appointment with our legal advocates or one of our advocates who will see them and try to help them with the situation they're going through.
What are some of the kind of common areas that you might be helping people with?
A very big area we have is homeless people. A lot of people have nowhere to go because they have no income. A lot of people come here because they have mental health problems. A lot of people, they feel they have nowhere, they don't belong in society. There's nowhere for them to go to. So they come here and we try to steer them to the right people to get the help that they need.
So you work as intermediaries between them and some of the social services that might be offered by the governments as well as other nonprofits?
Yes, we work with various other nonprofit organizations, including Interior Health as well, to support our client groups, yes.
So talk a little bit about sort of the need in this community. I mean, we think of, the Penticton and the Okanagan as sort of relatively well-off places, but there are still a fair number of people, obviously, that need these kind of services.
Absolutely. There's a lot of people in Penticton who, we don't know about. We don't talk about these group of people. Many people come through our doors. We have up to 1,000 people that come through our doors every month.
Wow.
1,000 different cases that we have to deal with. And these are people who are in need of our services. So we see quite a few people coming through here.
So talk about the advocates that you have here. Where do they come from, and are they specialists in different areas?
Yes, we do. We have a legal advocate, we have a disability advocate, and we have an outreach and referral advocate as well. We're a service that people can come here, feel comfortable to talk about their problems. We don't judge, we don't stereotype. People, they feel safe. They come in here, and we're able to help them with their needs in the community as well.
So you say you get 1,000 different cases. That is seems quite remarkable to me. They didn't have a relatively small community.
It could sometimes be the same person coming in several times a week, a day. The same person may come to see a legal advocate and also have disability problems, be it mental health or other issues that we help them to deal with as well. So we have loads of people coming.
Where do your resources come from to be able to do all of this?
Well, we do have very limited resources, but we try to work with other organisations as well to strengthen our organisation as well, our structure. So,
do you work with volunteers inside?
We have some volunteers as well. So we have a lot of volunteers that work in our organisation as well. That's a good thing about organisation as well, because we have a lot of people who want to give something back to the community and they want to give up their time. We actually have a taxation program which is supported by many volunteers, and these are people who are retired. These are people that work for CRA, accountants as well, and they want to give something back to the community, and they're helping us run our taxation program.
Do you have fundraising events or stuff
Yes, we do. We have a big fundraising event coming up called the Jazz Night. That's going to be at the Parrot, March the 30th. So hopefully you'll be there. Many people will be there, and that's a fundraising event we do every year to support our cause.
What is it about doing this work that appeals to you? Like, what got you involved in this?
Well, what got me here in my role was my background is social work. I did a lot of social work myself. I worked in the community as a social worker. Having worked within the community and worked with impoverished people that had mental health, it was something which I was quite passionate about. And I feel now I'm working for an organisation where I'm able to support people to live a better, more fulfilled life. So I'm really happy being here at the Access Centre, and I'm really happy with the staff that we have here and the volunteers. So it's a good place to be. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, awesome, thank you.
Now we're talking to David Deshotel from the Poverty Law Advocacy Program here. Yes. That's got to be an important area when dealing with people that are disadvantaged.
Well, we sure see a lot of folks, Doug, with a whole array of legal issues, be it an eviction notice or appealing an income assistance benefit that they've been denied, Canada Pension Plan benefit that they've been denied, some of the folks that have been denied their employment insurance benefits. That's where we come in and assist them with their appeals.
So, because I kind of immediately thought that it would be specifically like sort of court cases and things, but there's a much wider range and maybe less court-specific stuff.
Exactly. That's hence the poverty law program, assisting people, low-income people that are on income assistance, and that's basically what our program is. However, we do assist people with family law, making sure that they're aware of the Family Duty Council program, the legal aid program in town, and also people that are facing criminal matters. We can assist them with procedural information about their initial appearance in court and what to expect if they want to apply for legal aid.
So obviously you need to have fairly specialized knowledge. What's your background and how did you get into this?
Well, I started with the Community Law Office, which is located in the same building here in 1994. As a legal information counselor. My career was administrator of rural governments in Saskatchewan, so that sort of looked good on the resume, and that's what got me into the Community Law Office. And the Community Law Office had a poverty law program as well. Wasn't called that, but basically that's what it was. And we also did the legal aid services on contract basis with Legal Services Society. So I was trained to take legal aid applications, know their policy, and also trained to appear in various tribunals, mental health review tribunals, income assistance, small claims court, settlement conferences. So a whole array of human rights is included in there as well. So a whole array of legal issues for people who are of low income or on, really, in my term, I hate to use that, but it's true, condemned to poverty because the only source of income they do have is their disability benefits and unable to earn any other source of income.
So what is it about in this kind of work that appeals to you? It seems like it might be a very frustrating task to be sort of constantly up against the system like that.
True. People come into the office here feeling that they're at, and I heard this term a lot, at the end of the rope, like they really are in a situation where this is they have nowhere to turn. And what we try to do is make them aware that there are alternatives, that there are areas that they can empower themselves, and we'll help them with any legal issue that they may have, but also to make them aware that there are some options for them. So if we can, when they come in and when they leave, if we can have a smile on their face, then that's rewarding, and I think we've done our job if we can do that.
Right, yeah, I mean, I guess if people are at that level of desperation, then being able to help them must be pretty rewarding.
Absolutely, and we work a lot with addictions, mental health, not that we're counselors here, but we have good resources. We don't hesitate at all to call the community response team if we know that somebody is really has suicidal thoughts, and we run into a lot of those cases, and the CCRT is what they call. They're really helpful, and they'll assist us in calming that individual and making sure that there's a program in place for them to help them out.
Now, are you looking for people to help you in this field, like volunteers or?
Well, I'm glad you brought up the volunteers, because we cannot operate without our volunteers. Kelly is our resource and referral and volunteer coordinator, and we have a volunteer team that if they would leave, if we didn't have them, it would cripple our ability to do our work.
So what kind of, do they need particular qualifications? If somebody's watching this and they think, it sounds like, valuable work and rewarding work, how would they go about becoming involved in? Well,
just contact our office, and they'll be referred to our volunteer coordinator, and then between Kelly, our volunteer coordinator, and Obi, our executive director, we'll go through the process, and And if we think they're a good fit, certainly they'd be welcome to come on board. We have, a retired psychiatric nurse that's a volunteer. We have, retired social workers that are volunteers. So any area where they've been, I like to call it in the front lines,
right.
Where they have empathy
Yes.
for the people that are coming through the door, non-judgmental,
right.
and realize that people that are coming through a door have some sort of trauma,
right.
or dealing with some sort of trauma.
Any idea what your sort of typical caseload is like? Like how many, does it vary or is it?
Well, it does vary. I mean, my program, for example, I'm expected to open and close 500 files a year.
Wow.
And last year I was up to about 1,300.
Wow.
So we far exceed any expectation as far as opening and closing files are concerned.
Well, we've come down the stairs and about one door down the street to 306 Martin Street, and now we're at the Access Center Tax Clinic, talking to Shirley Pretty, one of the volunteers here. Tell me a little bit about the tax program that runs here.
Okay, we're a tax program that runs with the approval of CRA, which is Canada Revenue Agency. We're all trained by them. We have about 18 volunteers, and some are on reception, some are doing intake, some are doing the actual filing. Last year we served 1,200 people.
Wow.
And we did 1,500 tax returns.
That's really quite remarkable. And talk about the people that you were helping with this.
A broad cross-section of the population here. The only thing they have in common is that they have a modest income. So single people with incomes under $30,000, single parent with one child, $3,500, a couple, $40,000. So it is a modest income. But we served kids who are just coming into the workforce. We served single parents. We served senior citizens on pensions, disability pensions. Like I said, the only thing they have in common is a low income.
Now, one of the things that's really important about filing your tax returns isn't just that you necessarily are going to get your refund, but there's a lot of things that are tied to it as well.
All government checks now that are cut provincially and federally are based on your last year's income tax. So you could be losing out on all of those benefits if you haven't filed.
And that can be pretty substantial for people that, as you say, are on limited means.
It's huge. It is huge. And then we check to see if there are other things that we can do to help them, and we refer them to places where, disability pension, we send them upstairs to the Access Center to meet with a person up there who can help them file or fill out their papers.
So talk a little bit about how you personally got involved in this and what it is that brings you and the other volunteers to this kind of work.
Well, I was at a fundraising event for SOVAS, and Bridget Kemp was sitting across from me, and she and my daughter knew one another, and they started talking, and Bridget said she was working there, and I thought, that's something that I could do. And so I volunteered, and we have a really, really keen group of people that are dedicated to making people's lives easier. When you get a paper return and you try to do it, it's overwhelming, and they can bring it in here, and we can do it really quickly because we e-file it.
You say that the volunteers and stuff have been trained by CRA to be able to help with this. So how do you go about getting that certification? Like, how is it that this organization gets to work at this level? Is it tricky to jump through any kind of hoops like that?
Well, we're volunteers first with the Penticton and Area Access Center, and then we can apply to CRA to get approval as tax preparers, and we have webinars that we have to take part in, and I took part in 9 this year, and so yeah.
You're all educated.
Well, I wish I could say I was really educated, but I'm good at filling in the boxes.
So what do people need to have to come in here? I mean, it might be a bit intimidating, as you say, to have these papers and to need to get that sorted out. Is it an easy process coming here?
It's a very easy process. They just bring in all the T-slips that they've got, their medical receipts, whatever would be classed as income. They bring it in. They meet with an intake worker. The intake worker just goes down through all of the information they have, ask them to come back in 8 days to pick up their paperwork, and in the meantime we e-file it, and it's all ready for them in 8 days. The process is very simple.
So people can just, they don't need to necessarily make an appointment or anything? They can come in here during office hours?
Yeah, no appointments. It's 1 to 4, Monday through Thursday. And we also work throughout the year. I think we're the only agency in the South Okanagan who processes them throughout the year. But the rest of the year, we only do it one afternoon a week.
So it can still be done even after sort of the deadline if people find themselves in a situation where they need to get it filed?
Yes. Yes. Right now, we're just hoping that people will come in with 2015 and 16, and then at a later date, if they've got 10 years to file, we'll do it when the rush is over.
Right, well, thank you very much, and thanks to all the volunteers that are down here helping out. And so, yeah, here we are down at 306 Martin Street, 1 to 4,
Right,
Monday to
through Thursday.
Whether you're new to a community or just want to learn how you can help more, the first stop on your list might just be the Volunteer Center here in Penticton. It's housed in the Big Blue Church. We're going to go inside and find out how you can get involved. Well, now we've come inside the Big Blue Church to the office of the Volunteer Center here in Penticton, and we're talking to the president. Tell us a little bit about the society. What does your organization do?
Well, it's a volunteer center. So what we do is we sort of source volunteers. We build up a database of that so they can fulfill any volunteer opportunities that we have in the community. So we're almost like a brokerage. We're a matchmaker between the volunteers and the people who need volunteers, non-profit organizations, charities, things like that. So we maintain a database of volunteers and we send out any opportunities that are available in the community to them so they're aware of it.
That must be a useful information, because I imagine, especially if you're new to the community, that you don't really know what opportunities there are.
Exactly, it's an ideal place, and that's how I got involved initially. I moved into the community a couple of years ago, and I wanted to get involved. So I went on the website, I found the volunteer centre, I came here, I met with Wendy, our ED. She explained everything to me, and it's a perfect way to get integrated into the community and get involved and give back.
But when you chose to maintain your volunteer presence here in the Volunteer Center itself, as opposed to branching into another organization.
Well, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do because I was involved in different kinds of volunteering on the mainland, and my kids were growing up, so you get into their sport, you get into your own sport activities, all that. It wasn't available here. After speaking to Wendy, she suggested I get involved in the actual society, which I did do, and this grabbed my interest, and I've got involved, and obviously now I'm the president.
So what kind of stories have you seen from people that have come here, or people that you've met through the center, the people that have gone on to become volunteers in all these different organizations?
Well, I think that a lot of them are newcomers to the area, so they look in the same way as I did. They came in, they wanted to get involved, looking for a place in the community. So they've come up, they've got involved, just seen the opportunities, and then gone where their passion is, really. You have to find your passion, move into that, and that's what they've done.
And you must have a lot of different societies and organizations that you work with. Any idea how many is in that database, or is that pretty hard to say?
Well, the volunteers, we've got about 800 volunteers in the database, yeah. And we put it out to them.
When you first came here, you say you were looking for some way to get involved in the community. Why is volunteering important to you? What is it about this that ignites your passion?
I think volunteering is a way of giving back. You need to do that, and to me, it was also a way to integrate with the community. My volunteering before, as I said, was either with my kids, with my own sport and interests like that, so that my passions were there. I knew they weren't going to be here, but we wanted to be part of this community. We wanted to put our roots down, and we thought this was the best way is to go through volunteering because it's always necessary. And it's like the pillars of society. If people don't volunteer, a lot of things just won't work. You need volunteers all the time.
And you found this to be a rewarding position, and how's it gone integrating into the community?
It's gone well. So this position has actually taught me a lot. All my volunteer work in the past didn't really get me into the back of the non-profits and how they operate and things like that. This I've learned a lot from, and I've learned a lot from Wendy, our ED too. And it's a complete different community. Dealing with them, it's different mindset from dealing in the business world and things like that. So I've learned a lot, and I continue learning all the time.
Are you surprised at the variety and number of organizations that rely on volunteers here in Penticton?
I'm surprised at how dependent we are on volunteers, and I think a lot of people don't realize it. If we don't keep sourcing volunteers in, a lot of these organizations won't be able to operate at all. And that's where we come in. We connect the volunteers with these organizations that need them.
Now, you might recognize the voice of our next guest. We're talking to John, one of the board members here at the Volunteer Center. He's on Easy Rock, Sun FM. Welcome to the show, John. Now, you're on the board of the Volunteer Center. How do you get involved?
Well, it's funny. I've been in radio news for about 5 years now. In the last community I was in, I really wanted to just get kind of entrenched in the community, learn more about the community, and learn more about the people here. And it was difficult. I didn't really make any inroads, and I found a new job. I moved over here to start up, and it was pretty difficult. Again, it's to be a young guy in in an area that has a lot of seniors, that has a lot of people that are newlyweds. I'm single, I'm young. It was difficult to really make those inroads. So I came down to the Volunteer Center. It was a Google search away.
I was going to say, how did you find out about it in the first place?
Yeah, it was funny. I was Googling everything, and the ones that kept really popping out to me were things with animals. Sorco, the rehabilitation center for owls. I was like, how do I get involved with this? Like, will I actually be able to hold the baby owls? But so I found out they were all connected with the Volunteer Center. So I sent Wendy a call or an email, which turned into a call, which turned into a conversation, which turned into a meeting down here. And it started off with, what type of groups do you want to volunteer with? We can connect you. And it really quickly became, do you want to jump on the board and learn more about this? And, I'd recommend it for anybody that's young and just trying to learn more about the community. I mean, it's more about the organizations that you work with. It's all about the people, It's funny, I'll work a booth at a health show or an expo or something like that, and the amount of people that come up not to get information about volunteering, they just want to tell me about times that they volunteered and compare, and I swear it's almost like it's a little bit of a challenge, like, well, I've been volunteering for 20 years, young man, and I'm kind of like, okay, I'm intimidated, right? But no, it's really amazing people, and it's those personalities that make you want to do it and make you want to keep doing it and make you want to kind of grow the volunteer base. Because once you start volunteering, it is so addicting. Once you start getting out there and meeting the people and doing the shows, and you start seeing the perks of it, I mean, yeah, it's addicting.
Now we're talking to Wendy, probably the person that keeps this place running, from what I've been told. Tell us a little bit about the Volunteer Center from your perspective, what you guys do here.
Well, the Volunteer Center is a part of a network across Canada. There's 200 volunteer centers in Canada, and there's about 38 in British Columbia. And what we do is we revitalize and build the pool of volunteers that are available in the community.
So you work with a variety of different organizations that are looking for volunteers?
Yes. In order to provide a service to volunteers, we work with about 100 nonprofits in the region. Wow. And we have about 40 of them that have listed their volunteer opportunities with us at this time. And there's about 100 volunteer opportunities. So there's lots of things to do and ways to get connected. I mean, we have opportunities with animals. For example, we've got Critter Aid and Alley Cats and the Rehab Center for Owls. And there's opportunities to get involved with the environment. The Okanagan-Similkameen Parks Alliance is a member of ours. And then there's lots of opportunities to help out with people in need, women in need, newcomer Canadians, seniors. We work with the Seniors Wellness Society and the Better at Home program, and they're always needing help with their programs to deliver. Yeah.
So it's a really broad scope, depending on what people might be interested in or have particular skills in.
Yes, and speaking of skills, we see a lot of new people coming to the community that maybe have recently retired, and they have some great skills. They've been working for 20 or 30 years, right? And they have skills in facilitation or leadership skills or team building skills, and all of these skills are really important for our community service organizations. For example, the Arthritis Society is looking for some facilitators to help them facilitate some workshops in the community, as is the Restorative Justice Program. They're looking for facilitators to help them deliver their services in the region, right?
And you don't necessarily have to have a specific set of skills, though. Like those ones might call for some people with very unique and specified things, but pretty much anybody can find their spot in the volunteer world.
Yes, I think that There's something for everybody, really, is what we're seeing, regardless of your level of skill or your interest. You should be able to find something here. And if it's not available right at this moment, it will probably be coming up in the next few weeks, right? There's events that are happening in the community. Almost all of our organizations that we work with have an event, a fundraiser event or a workshop or whatever that you can help out in many different ways there. You don't necessarily need to have a specific skill, no.
So how does the process work if somebody is new to town and they're seeing this and they maybe want to come down and help? What does that look like?
Well, it can happen in a variety of ways. We have a website which has a searchable database on it. And so you can come to the community and just go to our website, and all our resources are on our website. So you can do that. Oftentimes we have people that will contact us and we'll consult with them individually. And you can make an appointment to see myself or Bobby, he's our program manager here, and he will go over, we have a guide to volunteering, which
Handy dandy book.
yeah, it's we hand this out quite a bit, and it has the rights and responsibilities of volunteers, and it also has a self-assessment tool. So if you not sure what you want to do, you can go through the self-assessment tool, and it'll help you narrow down, where you want to volunteer. And it also has some tips in it for how to go to an agency that you want to volunteer with, and some of the questions you should ask them about volunteering. So this is quite, we hand this out quite a bit, yeah.
So obviously you believe in volunteerism and you think that's an important cause. Talk a little bit about the benefits to the society and the individuals that might get involved in volunteering.
Well, the benefits to volunteers are, for one, there's a health benefit for sure, and the research is showing that now, that it affects your cardiovascular system. There's a protective effect there. There's also a protective effect on your, that protects you from isolation and helps you to be less depressed. And there's also a protective cognitive effect for people that get involved. It helps to prevent cognitive decline. There's also benefits associated with youth. There's research that shows that volunteering as a youth helps to increase and promote empathy in our youth. And in fact, one of the studies last year that was done showed that, or recommended that volunteering to help reduce bullying in schools. So there's a lot of health benefits. There's a lot of benefits for students too, and youth, in terms of building your skills and your experience and getting you ready for that paid job. And then if I look at the benefits for the community overall, there's lots of research on that as well that shows that, as individuals, when we volunteer, we live healthier, longer lives. And in communities where you have a high level of volunteerism, you've got people overall in the community live healthier, longer lives, and they're happier. For communities who have a number of volunteers like we do, you've got a happier and more caring community.
That's it for our show. Thanks very much for watching. And whether you are a volunteer or someone who's been helped by volunteers, we'd love to hear your story. Drop us a line at Shaw TV Okanagan. That's it for the show. I'm Doug Brown. We'll see you next time, where you live.